unloading papers, and I was out preaching to the masses. I gave enough civic talks in that town to, I don't know, I felt like I knew every civic group there was, because this was the Save the World period. And so everybody wanted to know about recycling being the one thing they thought they could do to save the world. So I gave talks and talks and talks and talks. I figure in giving recycling talks in the last 45 years, I've probably spoken on the subject to 1,000 or more, maybe 2,000. I don't know. So I arrived in Fayetteville with that background. So I wasn't cold turkey to environmental issues or environmental organizing. And our personal dog in this fight was that we had bought a house on Fox Hunter Road. Well, after the old boys in Westport said, you're not staying here, the last thing on their list was Fox Hunter Road, because that's where the sewer plant, the city sewer plant, was located. There was city property down there, and it's in the county. So we were unable to vote on the incinerator because we were in the county, never mind that the incinerator was going to be in the county, but this is a whole other convoluted political thing. Our situation was, when you buy a house, that's the largest investment you make in a lifetime, probably. More than likely. Certainly had been for us at that point. We were looking at 90 trash trucks a day to begin with. Probably 7 days a week, I don't know, I can't remember that detail. That was just to begin, because they wanted to bring in other municipalities and counties to this incinerator, because what you've got to remember about an incinerator is it must be fed. And the whole feeding of the incinerator goes smack dab against, and I imagine Ron will address this too, into competition for fuel. And incinerators like to burn paper and woody products, and they don't like glass and metal, and only like plastic real well. And yet, the environmental aspects of burning all of this stuff, and this is why I've got this Da Vinci out here on the wall. This is your basic trash truck. It's not very big. It's got question marks on it. It's going to dump a bunch of question marks in here, in a big holder bin. And those question marks are going to go up here, and they're going to get cooked in fire. And the gas, now they continue to point out that, well, they put scrubbers on it. They did buy scrubbers and a taller smokestack, as though that was going to environmentally solve the problems. And it spent a lot more money on the bond issue. But actually, when you don't know what you're burning, you really don't know what you're getting. And so to test for this exhaust, you've got to somehow convince some agency, which doesn't exist, more than likely, that they need to come and run all kinds of essays on what's coming out. There's never any money for that sort of thing. This is just a trust us, we know what we're doing sort of situation. Well, what happens when you burn a lot of these unknowns is you get fly ash, hazardous ash in the smokestack, and you get it in the burnt ash down at the bottom. These ashes have got to go then to a hazardous landfill. So our slogan and our campaign to try to bring this thing to a vote, remember the city council had already voted to do this. They had sold $22.5 million worth of bonds to do this. And people were only beginning to realize what this might mean after the sighting of this thing began. Our logo was more pollution is no